मुझे लगता है कि डीकेटी अपने माध्यम से ये इंश्योर करता है कि जो बच्चे कहीं भी बैठ के तैयारी कर रहे हैं उनको वो प्रॉपर गाइडेंस मिले उन लोगों से जो कभी एक नॉर्मल एस्पिरेंट होते थे बट अब क्योंकि लिस्ट में नाम आ गया है और वो कुछ इस तरफ हो गए हैं, वो इंश्योर करते हैं कि आप तक वो मैसेज पहुंचे, एक अनफिल्टर्ड मैसेज जो कोई कोचिंग वाले नहीं कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि अगेन वो एक ड्रीम सेल कर रहे हैं। यहाँ पे ऑब्जेक्टिव ये है कि किसी की एक कहानी सुनाना, एक टू द पॉइंट ये बताना कि उन्होंने लाइफ में क्या किया है। तो थैंक यू डीकेटी, आप अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, गुड जॉब एंड ऑल द बेस्ट टू ऑल द एस्पिरेंट्स।
Hello, good evening. My name is Aayushi Arora, and recently I have scored rank 9 in Haryana Judicial Services. Through this medium, I would like to share my strategy so that it can benefit other candidates who are also pursuing the judiciary exams. First of all, this medium has really helped me find out my own strategy by listening to other toppers and candidates who have earlier cleared the exams. I could listen to their interviews and draw some insights on how they have prepared and what all pointers I could take from their interviews, which really helped me in mine. I would divide this exam into 3 stages as there are. The first is the preliminary stage, mains, and then the interview. Firstly, I would like to mention that this is my second attempt at Haryana Judiciary and my second interview. Also, I have given Punjab Judiciary earlier and Haryana EDA, wherein I went till the interview stage but could not clear the interview stage. I think before I start, I would like to tell you that all the 3 stages are extremely important. We must not be lenient or complacent in any of the stages, because I feel in the hindsight, when I think about my previous attempts, I feel that probably I was little complacent or did not give as much attention and effort in my interview stage. Maybe that is why I could not qualify my interviews. So in each stage, it requires your undiluted, unfettered attention. It requires full dedication. You cannot give a 50% or an 80% just in the burst of happiness that you have cleared mains and interview is just a personality test. No, it is not just a personality test. You really have to put in those long hours, study a lot of things before you face the interview. So first, going with the preliminary stage, by God's grace, I have always qualified my preliminary stage with very high ranks. I had scored 458 in Punjab preliminary exam and 420 in Haryana. Similarly for other states as well. And the only credit I would like to give my success of pre is to the books that I have referred. I have referred Law Guide by A.K. Jain. I have remembered each and every word from that book, and for pre, my strategy has never been just to rely on the bare acts. Although yes, bare acts are the foundation, but you just cannot rely on bare acts because the competition is such. And also I feel the questions are such that you need to have full knowledge of the concept, because what if you are faced with some practical questions or some proposition questions, therein you need to know the law itself. So I feel having full knowledge of the concepts is very important right now. You need to know, for example, for CPC, you need to know Order 9, you need to know everything that comes under ex parte or dismissal. You cannot just go by remembering probably Rule 13 or Rule 9. No, you need to know everything. And the books here help in, as in, if there are important words, it helps you know them and focus on them by giving a lot of explanations on how and why there are things in the bare acts. So I would suggest that you also refer to some books except bare acts, and of course thorough knowledge of bare acts is indispensable, that you cannot skip. Secondly, for pre, I have attended various mocks by Karan Sangwan sir. He used to take free mocks on YouTube as well as his channel. And that has really helped me a lot. I remember my pre-preparation went one scale up just by attending his mocks. I was all about reading bare acts and books back to back, but that did not fetch the result which I wanted in the pre. So by attending his mocks, I got to know that how one should study bare acts. For example, section 145 of the Indian Evidence Act, there are 2 words which is corroborate or contradict, and how things are read. So those MCQs really help you figure out that how a question can be framed out of those sections which are important, which we must know. So once you're done with your studies, once you're done with the thorough reading of the Barrett, I would suggest that you take up any book or you refer to any teacher, or like how I refer to Karan Sangwan sir's mocks. You do those PDFs as many times as you can, and I promise you that will really help you a lot in your preparation of pre. Then we come to mains. I believe mains is the toughest stage because of various reasons. First of all, it is a very subjective test. It is a very lengthy test. You need to know everything of every law. You cannot skip anything. You cannot, I think at this level of competition, you cannot treat few sections or few provisions as less important and others as more important. Everything needs your attention because you just cannot predict what the questions would be. So for my mains, what helped me in this time are my structured notes. This time because I had written various other mains previously, I knew that few things are working for me, few are not. For example, I knew that during the mains exam, you do not have time to refer to your long, lengthy notes and go about reading them again and again. So I knew that I need structured skeletons of the important topics at least, which I can refer again and again. And if necessary, I used to make few words and sentences or few songs of the important things which I could remember. For example, for various maxims, I used to make few names and all of that so that I could remember that. Secondly, was the things that helped me is all the important topics. For all the important topics, I had already made answers. For example, a confessions is a very important topic both in CRPC and Evidence Act. For confessions, I knew if this would come, then I need not think even another second before writing an exam. I should know what I need to write. So for various such questions, I made a very skeleton notes. For example, for confessions, I knew that I wanted a start, which I did with the maxim. Then I started the introduction with Pakala Narayan Swami, and then I quoted Lord Atkin. Then I divided into types of confessions, judicial and extrajudicial. Here I refer to 164, 281, 464. In extrajudicial, I mentioned to Rahim Beg and why extrajudicial is has a less evidentiary value than judicial confession. So you need to have the proper skeleton of your notes of important topics at least, that if you face those questions, you need not think even twice before writing it. That will eventually save some time also, and you could probably focus more on other difficult questions if there are so. And lastly, I used to conclude with the landmark judgment or with the current case law if there is any, and or also mention constitution if a question demands so. And that was my full structured answer. Similarly, I made it for mostly everything of evidence, IPC, CPC and CRPC. I think this practice really helped me that by the end of my studies, by the end of June, because I had my exam in July, I already knew what I needed to write for mostly the important topics. So if you have such structured and skeleton notes, that will really help you a lot. Secondly, the only thing which was different from my previous attempts to this attempt is my answer writing practice. And the full credit goes to Rohit sir, because I had attempted so many questions and I had written so many answers already before sitting for the exam, that I knew that if I face a question on probably restitution of conjugal rights or divorce or adultery, what all topics I need to mention, what are the objects, nature, what will I write in the explanation, what are the essentials. I just knew everything, and that was only possible because I had written so many answers previously with Rohit sir, and he had marked all of them and told me that these are the points which I can eliminate and these are the points which if I add will fetch me more marks. So you need to have a teacher who guides you, who reads your answers, who tells you what things are working for your answers and what are not, because eventually you cannot keep wasting time in writing things which are not necessary and which will not fetch you any good marks. So you need to be very clear there. Also for mains, I would suggest that once the date is announced, you essentially give 3 hours every day to writing mains, and that should be a strict practice. You cannot just skip for 4 days, write once and not get it marked and all of that. No, once the date is announced, if you religiously write a mains exam every day on your own and get it checked, I promise you that that will eventually make you feel more confident once you sit for the exam. That is very, very essential. Now coming to the interview stage, like I said, I thought that interview was just a test of personality, as we also hear, but that is not true. Interview is everything. It is anything under the sun. So you cannot take interview lightly. You cannot just walk in inside the room relying on your law knowledge. That is not the only thing they are looking for. Definitely they are looking for your personality and confidence. Definitely they are looking for your communication skills, but they are also looking that if you're faced with questions, whether you're answering or not, and if you're not answering, how are you conducting yourself? And my strategy to facing interview was that I had read the polity part, I had read the constitution, I had read and revised all my laws. With that, I started inculcating the habit of reading newspapers and being well versed with the current affairs and current scenarios that are happening, because I didn't want to be faced with a question which I don't know. For example, I was faced with a question from Indian Succession Act pertaining to Section 90 and Section 70. Although that act per se is not in our syllabus, but I didn't want to be found wanting on a question, because I think as individual, that used to make me lose confidence, and probably that used to reflect on my face. So firstly, be well prepared. You don't want to, the feeling of knowing the answer in the interview is different. So if you're well prepared, you have done your homework, you are well versed with your laws and other current affairs, you will be more confident. Second thing is, do face a lot of mocks, because you wouldn't be, it is not an ideal situation that first time you face an interview board, that is your interview panel, wherein you would be marked, and that will define your future. That is not a ideal situation. I would suggest that you face as many mocks as you can. I had faced mocks with Rohit sir, wherein he told me the areas which I wanted to improve. I also took help from a lot of friends and family, which my friends who are serving in the profession, or my friends, my family members who are at such ranks wherein they take interviews on a regular basis. I had faced multiple interviews from all sources, because I knew that I used to lack in confidence and I was not able to convey my part. So once I started facing a lot of interviews, I knew that before I start to speak, I need to figure out my answer, make a well-structured answer, and then present the answer in front of the board. So if you do that, if you're done with your practice, that will help you be more confident, and probably will also help with your mental state, because the pressure is such. Firstly, you're at the last stage, you want to succeed. So the pressure is such that you would always have jitters. Secondly, you're in front of so many senior High Court justices. It is very natural to feel nervous. So if you have already faced a lot of interviews, if you have attended a lot of mocks, you will be more relaxed in your composure. So that will help you a lot. Lastly, I would like to tell you that this is a very, very long and tedious journey. Keep your God very, very close, because that brings sanity. If you trust any deity, or if you trust the universe, you must keep praying to it, because this is just not hard work. Your destiny, your prayers play a very big part. So for your sanity, keep your family and your God very, very close, and do not forget that hard work is the only way where you can crack this. There is no shortcut to this exam. I myself have given 3 attempts, and right now I think I'm in a position to tell you that if we really work hard, then it is possible to crack this exam. Otherwise, I think it becomes very tedious and lengthy. Lastly, I would tell you that you must play on your strengths, but also focus on your weaknesses. If you know that your strengths are criminal law, you must be well versed with it, but do not ignore your weaknesses. If you know that you lack in cases, or you lack in giving a structured answer, make sure you devote more time to it. You cannot skip any part. Lastly, there are 2 major points which every aspirant forgets. That is the language part, Hindi and English. since it is an exam, since you have to write it, you must take it as seriously as you take your language, as you take your law papers. English is of 200 marks and Hindi is of 100 marks. I will tell you that these are the papers which will make or break your selection. If you score really well, you can probably take 10 or 5 marks or 20 marks more than other aspirants, which will bring you back in the competition. So do take your English and Hindi seriously. Lastly, I would thank the DKT for this interview, wherein I can help my other fellow candidates, and I would like to wish you all very good luck. I hope all of your hard work fructifies and give you the result that you have been wanting for. Thank you.